How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to talk about the Aspiration Checking account and the bank in general. Some of you have asked me about this bank, and it generally gives you a 1% APY on a checking account, so this is pretty good. For any given bank, and there's a lot of them, I classify them into 3 different kinds. The first kind is just the regular bank, really low interest rate, and then you got the really high interest rate online banks. Those are usually the big name ones, and then you have these smaller ones which offers a really high interest rate, something like 3 to 5% APY. Generally, to get this 3 to 5% APY, they make you jump through a lot of hoops, such as maybe like 30 debit transactions per month. Now this Aspiration Bank comes in a totally different category because it asks you to pay what you want. It sounds strange at first because for any kind of service or product that asks you to pay what you want, I just take a step back and go, wait a minute, this is really weird. And it's a model that sometimes works depending on how they set it up. Aspiration Bank is obviously not a really huge bank, but I don't really know how much revenue they generate each year. So I look at their address, and this is their office building over here. I can see from Google Maps that this building is not all theirs. It's maybe 1 or more floors that belongs to this company. Anyway, back to the checking account. They offer 1% APY. If you have $2,500 or less in this checking account, you only get 0.25% APY. This is really good compared to normal checking accounts because normal ones, you don't get any interest at all for the money that you put in your checking account. It says it has FDIC insured, there's no monthly fees and no ATM fees from any ATM. If you withdraw from one of the ATMs that's not theirs, the ATM would actually charge you fees, and then the bank would also charge you fees. It says on their webpage that if the ATM charges you fees, they will actually reimburse you at the end of the month. I'm not too familiar with this because I didn't actually use this service, but I would actually try to use it at various ATMs to really make sure that they would reimburse you first. Maybe if I use some random one in an international country, they say they would reimburse you, but I personally like to see it happen before I go around using all the ATMs in any ATM I want. Now this bank also has 2 mutual funds, one called REDWX, which has 15 million in total assets. It also has a different one, ASPFX, which has 7.35 million in total assets. If you look at bigger funds, they generally have a lot more than that because as a bank, there's a lot of people putting money into it, and when you have multiple people putting money into it, 15 million is not all that much. Now because they have their own mutual funds, they have more credibility, so I kind of tend to think that they do have this FDIC insured thing. But generally for any new bank, before I want to put like thousands of dollars into their bank, I really want to vet them first and make sure they're a legitimate bank, and this generally takes me a really long time. That's why whenever someone asks me, oh, what do you think about this bank? I don't have the 1 hour or more time that requires me to really vet the bank, just do research on them, just to see that they've been around for a while and they're a legitimate business, and that they won't take my money and run away, because it almost seems like you can start a bank and call yourself FDIC insured. You can just be some little shady thing that you don't really advertise, and then you would collect people's money and then run away with it, kind of like a con scam or something. So I'm worried about that for any new bank that I've never heard the name of. So if you look at the video on this front page, you would see this plane flying over and there's this voiceover, and this guy would talk about the fortunate few, maybe like the really rich people, are hoarding the best investments. Now this phrase itself, it's kind of strange to me because best investments, how is an investment really good? Is it based on the fact that maybe it makes a better return than an ETF in the S&P 500? By definition, it is really hard for a mutual fund to outperform an ETF index fund just because they charge that fee. And when they charge somewhere between 0.5% to 2% fee, it compounds over time. The fees compound also. At the end of maybe 10, 20, 30 years, you're gonna see a drastic difference because you're paying all this amount of fees. So the fact that they're selling mutual funds kind of make me take a step back, because mutual funds earn the fund managers a lot of money. However, there's a twist to this because you actually do not have to pay any fees. They set it up so that you can choose what you want to pay, and there's this little slider thing that you can allow to pay 0 to 2% of your total investment portfolio, and you're allowed to choose 0% if you want to. So if you're smart, you're gonna pick 0%, but the ethics of this is gonna eat away at you because you're receiving these funds, these actively managed funds, and you're not paying anything, and they urge you to pay what you think they deserve. Now, this bank is not public, so I cannot figure out what the percentage their customers are paying based on their income statements, but I can do a little bit of research on behavioral studies on the way they set this up. So you're allowed to pay a fee of anywhere from 0 to 2%, and their whole slogan is do well and do good model. So this is like a bank that says, we're good people, you should pay what you want. They contribute 10% of their revenue to charity. Now I go, this 10% to charity, I wonder what exact charity they're picking. I looked it up in their fact sheet. It says Accion microloans, Accion microloans. So when I look up microloans for this company, it's actually up to $5,000 for individual small businesses. Now, a microloan is not an actual donation to me, because when you are donating to charity, you have, your $100 and you give it to them, and you no longer lay claim to this money. However, a microloan, you give them the $100, but yet they still owe you money. So at the end of this microloan, if they collect the interest on top of that, they're actually gonna get more than this 10% they're donating to charity. So what I see this happening is they're giving $100 out, they wait some years and it gets paid back to them with interest. Maybe they get $110. So why is this a donation to me? This is not a donation. So finally, I like you guys to think about this pay what you want method. I looked it up and there's this Gneezy study, Gneezy, where they had an amusement park and people can come and pay what they want for pictures taken. So the average price that people pay for a picture, if they're allowed to pay whatever they want, is 92 cents for that picture. Now this pay what you want thing is relevant to this bank because they're asking you to pay what you want for this investment vehicle, these mutual funds that they're selling. The interesting part is when they couple it with a donation of 50%, when they say 50% of the profits it's going to go to donation, then suddenly things change a lot. The average price paid changes to $6.50 instead. So based on this study, if you couple pay what you want and a donation to a charity, then it actually makes people want to pay more. You may look at it and go, oh, 50% to charity? Oh, I want to donate maybe $3 to charity, so I'm going to pay them $6. Same thing happens here with the investment because people feel like, oh, they're doing good. So 10% goes to charity, so maybe they are incentivized to pay more in terms of fees. Hence, for this bank, I really like to know what the average percentage fee that they actually receive from all their customers. If I were to put a ballpark number on it, it would definitely be more than 0.3%, which is kind of about what you would pay for an ETF funds. I would almost guess it's going to be about 1.3%. Just random guess. Like I said, I didn't use this checking account myself, but you can go ahead and go in there and try to get your 1% if you deposit more than $2,500 in. And I'm not sure if they're gonna ask you for a percentage fee, even if you only have a checking account, but most likely they're gonna want you to do investments as well. So there you have it. It seems like I review a lot of financial products these days, and maybe through my eyes, I'm looking at it, I see things that other people aren't seeing, and hopefully this helps you guys out. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below. Let me know if you already have an Aspiration account or are going to get one because of that 1% APY. If you're interested in supporting this channel, and I would really appreciate it if you do because it's what keeps this channel going, you can check out my Audible link down in the video description below. And these days, I have a GameFly link too in the video description below where you can do a free trial, and even if you cancel, you can still help benefit this channel. I also have a Patreon link over here, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.